To all the Middlebury School Board members, principals, staff, and our community. Before I introduce myself, I'd like you to take a moment. Take 3 deep breaths and relax your shoulders. Allow your body to feel peace and calm. Think of your children, nieces, nephews, grandkids, and students. Think of their beautiful faces, their smiles, and the joy that smile brings. Recall their laughter. To me, that's the best sound in the world. Imagine them doing the things that make them happy, full of joy and laughing. Maybe it's playing a sport, marching in a band, singing in a choir, being at youth group, eating out with friends. It could be so many things. It is so many things. Now, imagine a world where that smile gets covered. The laughter becomes muffled and the joy is harder to see. Communication becomes more difficult. The need to smile becomes less and less, and the definition of beauty shifts. Worse yet, that smile is covered out of fear. The communication becomes less due to fear, and beauty is harder to find due to choices made by fear. To me, my children, and so many more, this is what our state is doing. They are stealing joy, reducing laughter and communication, and allowing our world to turn dark and ugly because of fear. Hi, my name is Danielle Carrington. I'm a mother of 5 beautiful children and raising a 6th, our niece, as well. All of our children are currently enrolled in Middlebury Community Schools. And weeks ago, when Governor Holcomb gave over control to the Indiana State Department of Health, my heart sank. The nightmares of the previous year flooded my brain. The fear, isolation, uncertainty, the depression, anxiety, sadness, and so much more that had previously entered our home was about to rear its ugly head again. The magnitude of loss was already felt so deep and barely mourned. To add mask mandates again felt like a return and a welcome to additional layers of loss to mourn. Now, I know that we weren't given much time to make a decision, and I know that there was this feeling that we had no choice. I know you felt trapped in a corner and believed you were choosing the greater good at that time. I know you've done your best to stick by this decision in order to honor the state, your legal counsel, and the law. However, I have also read and heard the questions you asked, the concerns you had, and one of you even stood up and stood against. We are all human, and in difficult decisions, we do our best. Sometimes it's hard to go back on those decisions, but sometimes it's necessary. I'd like to ask that you reconsider this decision, and here's why. You've seen and heard the statistics over and over. I have no doubt. It's hard to know what is truth, what is skewed, and what is completely false. However, there is fairly consistent information out there throughout the last 18 months that says the risk of our students experiencing more than cold-like symptoms is incredibly rare. In fact, it's maybe 3 out of 5,000. Now, of course, we have more than just children in our buildings, and the risk is greater with age. However, unless you are above 70, it's still not much higher than that same percentage. Plus, the beauty of all of this is people get to decide. And if anyone desires to get a vaccine, go for it. If you feel that a mask helps, wear it. If you want your child to sit farther away, request it. However, for those of us that are not afraid of our kids being the 3, we want to choose. We would like to choose. Let's do some comparisons here. I've done some research myself and have found that students ages 10 to 19 have a 1% chance of dying of suicide. That's 1 in every 100 students. Are we increasing our accreditations for our counseling staff, adding to the staff and bringing in outside resources to assist with the 50 students contemplating suicide? The same age group has a 1.1% chance of dying of an opioid overdose. What are we doing for this? Are we offering additional supports for addiction, resources to get them help, and home visits to check on these children? That's 55 students out of the 5,000. Sadly, these numbers are only on the rise as COVID has rocked our world in ways we've never experienced before. I dare you to focus more on those 50 and 55 than the 3 out of the 5,000. Those are also life and death situations. I commend you for desiring to do what's right by law. I truly do. And normally I would be riding that same train. However, I've run a business and even opened a second during this pandemic. I've made difficult decisions, just as you all have. I've watched parents struggle, children suffer, and employees fall apart. I oversee 2 daycare facilities, and majority of our students are experiencing higher than normal emotional responses to situations that should normally be easily maneuvered by them. Our younger students are delayed in speech, emotional understanding, social play, and motor skills. Our parents walk in exhausted and doing the best they can. I'll never forget the celebration the day we ditched the masks. The faces of our littles when they got to see our faces, when they could see our smile and our joy. Some of them didn't even recognize us. But we finally got to share our voices like they should be heard, not muffled behind a mask. They finally got to see our smiles, our noses, more than just this. I will not, and I cannot take that away again. Our own county health department denied a $3 million federal grant because it was tied to COVID quarantining and isolation. Do you know what that means? It means Elkhart County is tired of doing things that the federal government says. They gave up a huge sum of money to protect us, to protect our children from having to be abused and harassed with masks. Many people stood up. They spoke against this, saying it would likely lead to forced vaccination. I know that's the fear of many of us. We'll never know for sure what that could have led to, but our county is tired of tracing, quarantining, and isolation. They are not coming after us. In fact, they're putting out a silent cry for us to come together and fight. The students at MCS have experienced so much loss. Students everywhere have, and there isn't an end in sight. Let's restore hope. Let's give them back choice. Let's take a stand alongside other area schools and fight for our children. Let's fight for those smiles, for the unmuffled laughter, for the silly flirting, for the real, raw, and necessary emotions that these children need to have and express. Let's give them a childhood that they deserve, to be kids enjoying all the things that they love, and to have a community that supports them through it all by choice. Several area schools have chosen to take a stand. Others are moving in that direction as they cut out pieces of quarantining and isolation. It's going to take us all to make a change. Other states have already stood up and done it. We can too. Your community supports you. Let us support you. We are here to make a change that supports our students' growth, returns life to our schools and our children, and restores joy to a higher level. Remove the dark cloud. Return the joy. You have a choice. I do thank you for your time and all of your sacrifices. Have a blessed day.